In this video, I'm going to explain to you how I've taken 2 trades, right, with a 100% win rate over the last 2 weeks, and I've profited over $8,000 from taking those 2 trades. 2 trades, right? 2 trades. That's all I've done. Now, a lot of you are probably thinking, 2 trades. How has he made $8,000? Why has he only taken 2 trades? Is that not massively under trading? But no, the short answer is because I trade less, I can focus on the winning days, which I'm going to explain to you, by the way, in this video. And I'm going to explain to you how in doing this, it actually is almost guaranteed to make you a more profitable trader. My win rate is so high. And in fact, actually over the last 3 weeks, okay, it's actually been 100% win rate, right? Which I know sounds crazy. And I know to a lot of you are probably thinking, how is that even possible? Over 3 weeks, having a 100% win rate, right? But it's possible because I only focus on the best trades. So you can do the exact same, and I'm going to teach you exactly how to do this in this video and basically break down exactly how I've done it. And there's proof of this in my community, which I'll show you as well. Proof of the live execution, proof of the funded account trades, proof that I've called it in my community before the trade even happened. And another really interesting thing as well, before I actually get onto the charts, is that every trade that I've taken over the last 3 weeks that's given me this 100% win rate has played out, on a Thursday. Thursday for 3 weeks in a row has given me a 100% win rate. It's absolutely insane. Now, there's so much that this tells you, right? Which I'm going to get onto. But what this tells you immediately is that there's certain days of the week that are likely to win more than others, okay? And for me, that's Thursday. Now, what do I do as a trader with this information? I use this information to improve my trading ability, and that's why I only focus in the middle of the week on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, in particular on Thursdays, because I know, based on my data, that is the day that's likely to win. And there's proven results of this from my trades that I've taken, right? So just some advice before I even get onto the charts is, if you want to easily improve your trading, start actually looking at your data, and you're going to realize very, very quickly that there's going to be days that are outliers where you win more on those days. And what you should do is trade on those days and only those days. Simple fix, but nobody does it. And that's how I've been able to have a 100% win rate. It's not necessarily because my strategy is amazing, but yes, it's very good, but it's more so because I actually look at my data and I actually do what most traders don't, which is try and improve every single time I go into the charts, okay? So I'll show you all of this in this video. The first thing I'm gonna do though, before I even go into the charts, is show you the proof of it, okay? So this here is a trade that I took on, this is the 4th of September. So this is last Thursday's trade. It's $5,000 profit, okay? All right, there you can see. And then if I go and show you last Thursday's trade, so the trade before that one that made me $5,000, it is on the 28th of August, okay? So the Thursday before, you'll see that was 2.3K on an ACG funded account, as you guys can see right here, okay? So, yeah, it's been a very good week. And I also trade on a personal account as well. So every single time I'm trading on my fundeds, right, which I have multiple of, I've also taken the same trade on a big personal account of mine. So I've made probably a lot more than $10,000 from those 2 positions. And now let's go into the charts and break it down, okay? Because this is exactly how you guys can all become profitable. Oh yeah, and also guys, I've got a second YouTube channel that I've started out, and I've actually broken down these 2 trades individually already, plus some extra content on that channel, which will be linked below in the description. And I'm also gonna put it up right here so you guys can subscribe to that, because if you actually want to learn how to trade, like seriously, I'm going to be posting so much free content on this channel, it's actually unfair for the competition. Like, I'm going to be giving away so many gems, and if you are actually serious about trading, you need to subscribe to that channel, because the detail I'm going to go into videos on that channel, like 3 times a week, by the way, is going to be ridiculous. So, bro, subscribe. Right, so now looking on the charts here, guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and show you, first of all, the 2 trades that I'm talking about. That's given me a 100% win rate. Then I'm going to show you the proof in my community that I've actually taken these trades on the live trading call with them that I do every single day. And the first one is going to be this one here on the this is the second trade on the 4th of September. So my entry was something like this. My take profit was the previous day high up here, which was smashed. Okay, that was the first trade. And then the other trade I took the Thursday before was this trade right here. Okay, both of these trades were buys, which is also very important to note, which is basically because my higher time frame bias on GU currently is bullish. Therefore, I only take buys. Very, very simple. Okay. And second of all, both of these trades you can see happened after the Asia low was swept. We tapped into some sort of point of interest. In this example, we took out the lows right here. And in the other example, we tapped into a 15-minute demand zone down here. So that's already the two things that I look for when I'm trading the strategy. I look for a sweep of the Asia low, I look for higher time frame bias, and I look for a point of interest to be mitigated into. That's just the start. There's so much more that I need to break down though. So bear with me a second and we're gonna get into this right now. But yeah, before I do guys, what I'm gonna do is head over into the win section of the Discord and quickly show you guys proof that I've taken the trade and so have my members. So this is the last trade we've taken on the 4th of September. You guys can see here, Reese took the same trade that I called out. He made $8,000. Daniel took the trade. And this is my trade here, right? The $5,000 trade. You can see right here that I called out the trade at 8 a.m. And then at 9:35, I was up $3,000. And then when I sent this in here around 10 a.m., I was up $5,000, right? I called it in the Discord. And if we now go to the last trade that I took, the one before this on the 28th, you can see right here, yet again, I called out this trade, GU longs 28th. And then a few hours later at 11:45, take profits were hit, okay? I'm not gonna go into the whole wins of the Discord because there's actually so many. You can see just in those few days alone, there's been funded accounts passed, but hopefully you guys can now believe me and see the proof of this yourself, right? Because there's no more proof I can possibly give you than showing you the proof that I took it on a live trading call with my community, which I did, okay? And yeah, I mean, trading does work. Anyone who can't show you actual proof like this, by the way, is not a trader. And anyone, by the way, who maybe has a community but doesn't live trade, yet again, probably is not an actual trader, because that's very, very hard to do. To have the skills to actually be on a call and take the trade with your community and actually correctly get the trade right for the last 2 or 3 weeks with a 100% win rate is not something that you can fake, okay? So there's the proof. Everyone's happy now. Let's actually break these down. So the first thing I want to do here, and there's going to be a few different sections of this video, but the first thing is going to be higher time frame. The second thing is going to be the lower time frames, but in particular the 4 hour and the 1 hour. And the third thing is going to be my actual strategy, breaking down the trades that I've taken, the entries for those trades, and exactly how you can go and do this every single day using my very simple strategy, right? But first things first, let's go into the higher time frame, because the higher time frame is one of the most important things when it comes to trading this strategy. And so many people neglect it because they think, oh, the only thing I need to worry about is a sweep of Asia low and take a buy, right? Or sweep of Asia high and take a sell. But that is not the case at all, because if you don't know where the higher time frame is going, then you're going to take a sell or a buy, and you could be trading against the trend and that trade will not win. So before you do anything, you need to understand my reasoning for the higher time frame. And a very, very simple lesson for you guys right here is if you're in a bullish market, you're going to be doing this. You're going to be basically breaking past highs and forming new higher lows, right? So you can see here, this is what a bullish market looks like, right? We're forming higher highs here, breaking past the previous highs. And at the same time, the lows that we're making in the market, like this one right here, okay? And then the next one right here, are all higher than the previous low. That is essentially what a bullish market is. Very, very simply, that is a bullish market. And if you look here on the weekly time frame, you can see the same sort of pattern arising right here, okay? We're breaking past highs such as this one, such as this one, such as this one, and we're trending upwards, forming higher highs and higher lows, and therefore you are in a bullish market. There's no need to overcomplicate it. Sometimes simplicity is the best thing, right? And I would definitely say in this case, it is, okay? So many people overcomplicate the higher time frame and they look into so many minor details, but it's not needed. Keep it simple, and that's going to be the key to your success in trading, okay? Now, if we actually focus more on the weekly time frame, and in particular these candles right here, we need to analyze what's actually going on, because yes, the trend is bullish, but we did see a move to the downside here, and this would scare a lot of people. They would think, okay, maybe now we're bearish because we've broken past, for example, these lows right here. However, when I drop down to the daily time frame right here, you're going to see that this was clearly just a sweep of liquidity to tap into our higher time frame daily demand zone, right, which is going to be this one down here, okay, and then continue to the upside once we've tapped into our zone down here, right? It's a classic manipulation liquidity model, right, where there's going to be liquidity resting below these lows. The market's going to go down to take them out, react to a demand zone on the higher time frame, and continue its direction to the upside. That is literally what's happened right here. And a lot of traders, they get confused about something like this and they think, okay, maybe the market now is changing direction to the downside, but they don't have a good enough understanding of liquidity and understand that in order for the market to continue going higher, right, there has to be sweeps of liquidity. If we just have a look to the left right here as well, right, the same thing happened right here. You see here, we had a massive move to the downside here, grabbing all of these lows, tapping into these daily fair value gaps here, and then continuing back to the upside once we've generated enough liquidity to continue the move, right? So this stuff has to happen in the market. It has to be pulling back to grab liquidity to continue in its direction, which we just identified from the weekly time frame was to the upside, okay? So stuff like this has to happen, and that's why I was not worried about taking buys, because it still fit the plan, and I understood that this was simply just a generation of liquidity to continue to the upside, okay? So based on all of this, I'm very confident right now looking at the charts that we were bullish. So therefore, when it came to taking that trade on Thursday, the only thing I was looking for was going to be buys. Now, the next thing I do, once I know my direction, okay, is I will focus on what's happened the week before I'm looking to trade. So the week before I took that first trade on the 28th of September, this is what we were seeing. We were seeing this right here, and I'm going to change the color of this to probably like a yellow. This is the price action we were seeing. And it's very important to actually understand this as well, so that we can frame the trade for the week we're looking to trade on, okay? And this is why Sunday analysis is so important. You have to do the Sunday analysis and analyze this week here so that the next week, when we're looking to trade, we understand where price can pull back into and where it can continue and where it can target as well, right? For example, when I was doing my analysis on this week here, what I would have been saying to them is, to my community, I mean, I'm looking to target this high up here, okay? I'm looking to target as well this high up here, and I'm looking for a pullback potentially to start off the week, because if the weekly candle was going to go higher, which I think it would because of the higher time frame bias, which I just explained, we would be looking for some sort of pullback to grab liquidity potentially from these lows or maybe these lows down here, okay, to then continue back to the upside and target these highs up here. Okay, so that is what I was looking for when I was looking to trade this week, okay? Now, when we play out price, you're gonna see that Monday actually drops down. I knew this was gonna happen for the exact reason that I just said there. In order for the market to go higher, okay, it has to grab liquidity. It has to take out some sort of lows, which is a very important thing. And actually the reason why I don't trade Mondays is exactly why, because of what I just said. I know that Mondays are very unlikely to continue going up because the market's probably going to pull back, take liquidity, and once it's done that, once it's formed a low somewhere down here, and we've seen, for example, a shift in market, that's when I look to trade and target these highs up here, right? But only once we've seen the pullback and only once we've seen confirmation that we're heading back to the upside. So that's what I was waiting for. And now let's actually skip past Monday. I'll show you what Monday did, and then I'll show you how I framed the trade on Thursday based on the direction that Monday went, okay? And my points of interest which were up here and up here. So looking at the charts right here, guys, I was actually wrong about Monday making the move down. It was actually Tuesday. I just kind of forgot, to be honest, because this trade I took about 2.5 weeks ago, so quite a while ago. But yeah, you can see right here, okay, Monday made its move higher, no volume, and I don't trade Mondays anyway, which is exactly for this reason. You can see Mondays typically have no volume, and I think as well this was a bank holiday Monday, which is even more reason not to trade. Then Tuesday, okay, there was news on Tuesday, and this is actually really, really important. This is what throws people off, and I guarantee you, even the best traders, right, would have been thrown off by this move down here. This move looks extremely bearish, and looking at this right here, anyone, well, most traders, right, I say an average trader would not understand what this move here is doing, right? But what this move actually did, it was not a move to the downside. You guys can see right here that this was simply manipulation to take out all of the liquidity resting below this low here, and this low here. And once this happened, once we've seen the manipulation to the downside, grabbing the liquidity just like I said it would, okay, that is when I have now seen enough reason, okay, to look for a shift in market. And once I've seen that, I can look for buys to target the liquidity resting to the upside. Only now though, because we've grabbed out the liquidity from these lows here. And like I said over and over again, in order for price to go higher, it has to go lower first and generate liquidity from taking out some sort of lows, which happened right here. So now, this is what we're seeing, okay? Tuesday seeing the move down. I'm now basically waiting for some sort of shift in market to look for buys to now continue the move up. And the reason why I'm looking for buys and the reason why this doesn't scare me is because my higher time frame bias, which I just explained to you at the beginning of this video, was bullish, okay? And therefore, the only thing I care about is buys. This move down here on Tuesday does not scare me at all. I knew that this was simply manipulation to come into these lows here, take them out and continue the move to the upside. I knew that was the case, right? Because of the higher time frame bias that I said on the Sunday when I do my Sunday analysis with my community. Okay, so that is exactly what we're seeing right here. Now, if we skip past the next couple of hours, you're going to see what happens, right? Price goes lower. I'm still not in the trade, and I'm basically right now just waiting for Tuesday to finish and Wednesday to begin and see what's going to happen. On Wednesday right here, I remember now exactly what happened. We had the previous day low down here, and I was saying to my community, what I want to see is a sweep of this low, right? And a move higher, right? However, I didn't end up taking this trade, which I'll explain why. But the main thing I was wanting to see on Wednesday was basically a move to the upside and a break past these highs right here, which would give me my confirmation, the final confirmation I need to look for buys on Thursday, which are the buys that I ended up taking. Because, just to go over it all again, right, the higher time frame is bullish. We've now seen the move to the downside to grab liquidity from all of these lows down here. And now the only thing I'm waiting for is simply a shift in market on the higher time frames, such as the hourly or the 4 hour, right? So you guys will see the exact thing that I said happens, okay? We end up seeing a nice bullish close on Wednesday, breaking past these highs here, giving us that confirmation and that shift back to the upside. And now everything is perfect. I know exactly what I'm doing right now, and that is taking buys on Thursday from some sort of point of interest to target Asia high and target the previous day high as well, right? And it's because I've seen so much confirmation from all of the days before, and my higher time frame is now aligned with that, that I know and I'm confident that this trade is almost guaranteed to win because everything else is aligned. And this shows you how important it is to have a good understanding of the entire market as a whole. Not just the higher time frame, not just the strategy itself, the Asia sweep, but combining everything and framing your trade is super important, okay? And by the way, the reason I didn't take this trade right here is because I wasn't sure if we'd seen that shift in market just yet. And not just I wasn't sure, but we hadn't, right? We simply had not seen confirmation we were going to the upside, and therefore Wednesday could have kept on going lower, right? Which is why I didn't trade Wednesday. But only once we've seen the break past these highs and that higher time frame shift back to the upside is now when I'm confident that the market's probably going to continue going back up, right? But just because we've taken out this low here, it doesn't mean I'm going to take a buy because there was no confirmation that we were heading back up yet, right? We could have very well kept on going lower on Wednesday because of the volume from Tuesday, right? Wednesday could have kept on going lower and I didn't want to risk it. So that's why I skipped Wednesday. I waited for that move to the upside and then I traded on Thursday instead, okay? So now let's go and play out what happens on Thursday and you guys will see that the Asia range looks like this, okay? We end up, hold on, sorry. We end up sweeping out the Asia low and tapping into our demand zone here. So let me now actually go and break down the exact reason and how I entered this trade. Okay, cool. So here we go. This is what happened on Thursday, right? We've now seen the move to the upside and we're basically now just looking for our confirmation and our strategy to play out perfectly, right? The first thing that I always do when I'm looking to take a trade using my Asia sweep strategy is draw out the Asia high, which is up here, okay? So that would be the Asia high. And then the Asia low will be down here, which is actually swept already, but I don't trade before 8 a.m. So just because we swept this here, doesn't matter, I don't care, it doesn't mean anything, right? I only trade after 8 a.m., by the way, because that's when the London session actually starts and that's when the volume will actually kick in. So anything before 8 a.m. I don't care about, right? And the next thing I'll do is I'll draw out my points of interest, which in this case is going to be this demand area down here. The reason this is a nice area to trade from is because you can see there was strong volume from this area, leaving a 15-minute fair value gap like this, okay? And because of that, I know that's a good area and I know that if price is going to tap into it, it's probably going to see a reaction to the upside and use this as a flip zone to target the Asia high and also target the previous day high, which is up here, right? So previous day high here, there's going to be loads of liquidity resting above this high as well, which is why I actually targeted this and not just the Asia high, as you will see when the trade ends up happening. So if I play out price right now, we're going to skip to around here, okay? At this point here, this is when most people think that the trade is done. This is when most people think, okay, price is moving up, it's going to go to Asia high and I'm not going to be in the position and I've just missed the day. However, like I've said before 8 a.m. is likely to be manipulation and you guys will see a perfect example of this right now. This right here is when 8 a.m. starts and guess what happens, right? London volume kicks in and it's going to take out all of these early buyers right here. It's going to induce the market, tap into this 15-minute demand zone and then continue going to the upside to target the previous day high here. This is what I was waiting for, right? And this is what differentiates successful traders and average traders from professional traders, okay? They have the confidence to wait for inducement to happen and they let the strategy in the market play out and they don't force a trade. And as you guys will see, price ends up coming down during London session and taking out these lows, tapping into that demand zone, and that is when I looked to take my entry, okay? So from this point, we've now tapped into my demand zone. I skipped forward a little bit too much, so I'm gonna replay it a little bit, okay? We've tapped into the demand zone right here, and I got my entry on the 1 minute simply after seeing the buying pressure coming in from the demand zone on the 1 minute time frame, and my entry, it will be somewhere up on the screen, by the way, the exact entry, but I believe it was 4.6. I believe it was this. It's hard for me to remember because this trade did happen about 2.5 weeks ago, but I believe that was my entry. My stop loss was 10 pips covering the low, and then my target was going to be the Asia high and the previous day high, right? And I know right now what you're probably thinking is, how did you know to enter this trade, right? There was no change of character. The only thing we really saw was some buying candles on the 1 minute time frame. But first thing to mention here, okay, is there was never going to be a change of character entry because the change of character would have happened up here. I'm not going to enter up here because if I enter up here after the change of characters happened, my stop loss is now 25, 26 pips, which is way, way too big. And it's not worth taking that, okay? So it leaves you with basically one option. You have to go for an aggressive entry. Sometimes you need to do that. And that is not breaking my plan. That is not doing something I'm not meant to be doing. That is exactly what you should do. If you can't see, let's say, every single confluence play out, it doesn't mean you can't take the trade, right? it means you should be a bit more cautious. But if everything else looks good, such as the higher time frame and the market structure shift to the upside from Wednesday, and the volume coming in from the demand zone after taking out Asia low and after inducing these early buyers here, you should still take the trade, right? Yes, it's not amazingly perfect. Yes, it would be better to have the change of character, but it's not worth avoiding the trade just because one small detail is not there, right? And that's another thing that people often don't fully understand about trading is sometimes they wait for too much to happen and they end up taking no trades at all, okay? But you do need to be aggressive sometimes with your entries. And to be honest, this was a very nice entry. The 5-minute candle also closed bullish, which is another good confirmation you can also use. You can basically sometimes anticipate the candles to close in your direction. And if that happens, then you can take the trade slightly early before the candle closes. For example, this candle right here, it closed at 8:25. I entered the trade at 8:24, anticipating a bullish 5-minute candle close, and that's how I got such a good entry down here, okay? And that's totally acceptable to do. That's something that you definitely can do, right? You can anticipate the bullish candle close after taking the lows from here and tapping into that 15-minute demand zone. More than acceptable to anticipate that close and get yourself an early entry to secure some good risk to reward on the trade. So that's what I did right there. Now, my target was the previous day high. I didn't target the Asia high simply because the risk to reward wasn't good enough, right? That would be a 2.6, which I don't really like. I like anything other than anything after a free risk to reward is good. So I targeted a 3.5 right there. And then you guys will see the trade goes and smashes my take profit. And actually, literally was perfect. You guys can see it goes to the previous day high, which is up here. And as soon as it takes it out, the market reverses because once liquidity is taken, it could change direction. And that is why you always target liquidity points. You never be greedy. I would never target some random price up here because there's no liquidity up here that I can see. So what you would do in this case is close out the trade right here because that's when liquidity has been taken. So yeah, that is the trade that I took right there that made me around $3,000. I can't exactly remember, but around 3,000. So yeah, nice position. Now let's go on to the next one. And by the way, if you're learning something from this, but you want to learn more, then hit the link below in my description and you can apply for my community. I don't take on that many members, so your best bet is applying ASAP because yeah, it's going to be filled up pretty quick, but check it out in the description if you are interested. Okay, so that's the 4th of September right here. Now I'm going to go back and explain to you the trade that I took before, which is on Thursday, the 28th of August. I was actually meant to do this one first. I don't know why I didn't. But anyway, right? This is the trade that I took on Thursday, okay? So yet again, my bias was still bullish. Nothing had really changed. And if we actually analyze what happened on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, right, we're going to see right here that yet again, Monday wanted to move lower to grab liquidity, okay, to the downside to fuel the move up, right? So you can see right here, we had a big fair value gap here that was left from the week before. Monday went lower, which I expected to happen because like I've said over and over again, if the market's going to go higher, it needs to go lower first. So it went lower, filled this, and then Tuesday, grabbed liquidity from the previous day low down here, okay? And then on Wednesday, just like how I just showed you on the other example, gave us that shift to the upside right here, breaking past all of these highs right here, okay? And that is my confirmation now to start to look for buys on Thursday. So we saw exactly the same thing this week. We saw a move down, taking liquidity, Wednesday giving us that shift, and then on Thursday, you guys already know the drill, I looked for some buys, and now let's break down those trades that we took on Thursday. So on Thursday, yet again, this is what I do. I draw out my Asia high, which is above that, and my Asia low, which is down here. I'm looking for buys and only buys because that is my higher time frame bias. So I simply just wait for Asia low to get taken. Now, the next thing I do right here is I identify the fact that we have a structural low down here, which is gonna give us loads of liquidity below. So instead of just trading after the Asia low is taken, which a lot of traders would do, I always wait for this low in this example to get taken out because I know there will also be liquidity below here. So instead of getting into the trade early like this, I would rather basically wait for this low to get taken so that it can generate more liquidity to fuel a bigger move to the upside. And that is what ended up happening. So if I skip forward right now a few minutes, you will see, okay, we end up actually seeing a bit of a reaction from here, right? And a lot of, I remember I was on the live trading call with my community at this time. A lot of them were thinking that maybe we should enter here. But I said to them, guys, we still have this low down here. So the best thing to do, and we want to trade the best, right? We only want to take the best setups, is to wait for this low to get taken out, right? And as you will see, it gets taken out, and then we start to see the move to the upside. So let me show you how I entered this trade. Once we had taken out that low down here, I dropped to the 1 minute time frame. And I believe on this one, I got my entry after the change of character, okay? Because the change of character gave me a nice risk to reward, and it was worth me taking the trade after it. So if we play out price, you will see we saw a bit of a move to the downside, taking out these lows down here. Then we waited for a break past this, giving us our change of character, and that is when we entered the trade. Okay, I think my entry was probably after the close of this. Stop loss covering the low with a little bit of breathing room, by the way, just in case the market wanted to manipulate again like that maybe and go higher. Having breathing room on your stop loss always allows for that manipulation to happen in case it does, right? And it's just a safer thing to do. So my entry was somewhere up here, and my target for this trade was the Asia high, giving me a nice 1 to 3, okay? And if I play out price, you will see that it goes to our take profit. Now, that is exactly how I did it. That's exactly how I've had a 100% win rate over the last 2.5 weeks, give or take, okay? And you guys can see, the strategy itself is easy, right? Anyone can understand this. But the most difficult thing about trading is not just the strategy, right? You guys know my strategy. You can learn it on my YouTube videos. But it's about combining everything together and creating a trading plan that you follow every single week, right? And I don't just mean a trading plan in terms of, you know, the Asia high is swept and you look for a supply zone and you look for a sell. That's not a trading plan. I look to frame my trades on the Sunday before the week even begins. That's what I call a trading plan. Having the idea of exactly what you want to see, right, from the Sunday before, and combining everything to give you a solid plan and idea for the trade that you want to take. That's what you need to be doing, right? You need to structure your trades before they even happen and know exactly what you want to see. And then when you see it, then it's easy to win, because at that point, you just fill in the missing pieces of the puzzle and you just trade based on your strategy, which for me is going to be a nice sweep of Asia low into some sort of point of interest with my confirmation and take a buy, right? Easy as that. So yeah, that is the breakdown. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Like I've said as well, make sure, and seriously guys, make sure to subscribe to my second YouTube channel. It's going to be linked below, okay? Because there's going to be so many trade breakdowns on that channel. I might never do a trade breakdown again on my main channel because I might just move it all to that second channel. So if you're not subscribed, then you're never going to see me break down trades ever again. So you literally need to subscribe because there's going to be so many gems on that channel, right? It's going to be insane. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, drop a subscribe, drop a like, leave a comment, and I'll see you on the next one.